chairman see where the carpets are, circulated before Thursday. On the issue of the printing of the new bank, the new
bank there.
The new currency.
Are you saying we haven't got a report?
Check with your chairman, please.
They've got here asking
I have a question, it will be another one. Yeah. So please check and make it report be on the agenda, Mr. Secretary.
Madam President, in the name of God, there is no report. They won't say that no, there is no report. They tell me that they have a verbal report.
A report is
but no report.
Because the issue is
Senator, please.
The issue.
Senator, Dillon.
Where you making the issue from?
This will be put on the agenda for Thursday, and the committee must please make sure that a report is given and circulated.
Okay.
So when you stand up bringing us at that time?
Yeah, when you stand there, you don't stand up too?
When I stand up, you're
So on AOP will have the Senate budget. The Senate budget. The state of the nation and the retirement issue. The banking and currency issue will be put on for Thursday. A report must be given by the co-chair if he is here. The Senator for Ross says, Senator Lawrence, where you can little bit after Senator Poon. Senator Smith.
Yes. Madam President, distinguished senators, I will want for us to include on the agenda as AOB the information we gathered from the National Election Commission about certain regulations or criteria defined for voting place before you can be there to register.
Can I have information? It is too important to just talk about it in abstention. Please
information.
Letter and have it sent so it can be on the agenda for Thursday.
Madam President, I have information.
No, but we can't do it like that. I want a letter so that everybody can read it in advance and be able to
No, I have information for you.
On this issue that
on all of the issues. On all of the issues, I have information because during the last session, almost all of these issues were raised, and we agreed as a Senate that we have committee of the whole dealing with these issues. We listed what we needed to deal with, and on Thursday we should be dealing with the mining sector, and on the following Thursday we should be dealing with security and health and national elections and all of that, because the committees are not coming forth with these reports. So we've already agreed to do that. So I wanted to bring that, So every Thursday will be committee of the whole. So I want to bring that to your attention, so we don't bring up these issues again, because we have agreed to do that.
Okay, do we have a listing of what we'll do every Thursday? Yes. Please make that list available to me also so I can be aware. So, Senator Smith, I think the NEC will be the following Thursday, according to what they're saying. Senator Poon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, colleagues. Madam, I wanted to bring to them by their attention yesterday why in South Korea I'm going to a group 4,200 persons that came to work for AFCON from across this country. And AFCON has refused to pay them, and they were about to block the railway. So since we are discussing money, we are just keep it for us to discuss it on Thursday.
Can you do a formal letter to that effect to be added to the discussion?
I will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That will be part of the mining sector report for Thursday. Senator Lawrence.
Yeah, my intervention was to ask if the Secretary of Senate already communicated with the Lands, Mines and Energy Ministry about the hearing on Thursday, because since we have that plan, so we don't come here on Thursday and start our argument about all the communication was sent. So I wanted to put that on AOB so we can get update from him.
Mr. Secretary, information.
The discussion put security first, not mining this Thursday.
Mr. Secretary, can you clarify that for me, please?
Madam Presiding and members, Madam Presiding and members of the Senate, first priority was given to the mining sector. As agreed by disciplinary, and we have communicated to the Minister of Lands and Mines, the Minister of Justice,
Minister of Finance.
and the Minister of Finance.
That's it.
How about national investment commission, NRC?
When I spoke on the issue,
Yes, and there's LRC to it, four of them.
You sure? You sent them 4 letters?
Yes. It went to last week.
Mr. Secretary, will you please do the listing for the next couple of weeks? So everybody will have a copy of it, so we can know every Thursday what the discussion will be. Senator TJ, please.
President, I'd like to make a contribution to this agenda by calling the attention of the Senate on an issue that was agreed on 12 months ago. That the President's State of the Nation address should be printed and circulated to legislators. That the President's State of the Nation address before the legislature should be printed and submitted to the legislature so that we'll have copies of it and know what was committed to in the previous year. Senator, they don't raise that issue and we all agree and mandated the executive. We have not received any of the copies on what the president said you are going to do in the past year. So we need to know exactly what was said before we go to the new one.
So the copy of the President's State of the Nation speech from last year.
Yes.
That one says that one you need a copy of. I just want to.
Yeah, that's why we agreed that we will have copies, all of us. And the executive was mandated to make sure we have copies. We don't have any copy of anything. We went back there again, there another one will be delivered. Then let's say no copy.
Okay, so if you have any information, then they should be simple. Because I think the President's speech was even featured in newspaper. But the Senate needs an official copy. Can you?
Madam President and colleagues, I think the President and the message was circulated into all of the offices, and even the President and the message was circulated into all of the offices. And that was done. I got a copy from the Senator, the Proton office. Every member of the Senate was going there getting copy of that copy of the President and the message. You can ask the Proton.
Okay, Executive Chairman, I beg you, can you make a copy to the Secretariat so that they can make copies for all of the senators?
The previous message, right?
The previous message.
No problem, I'll do that.
That will solve the issue.
Okay.
So, Mr. Secretary, please make sure this is done.
We're not having
So make hard copies because maybe they will say they didn't get it.
No, I was just suggesting that we're not talking about photocopy, we're talking about the printed copy of the president's message that should have been circulated.
Is a photocopy not good enough? Is a sealed
No,
document?
photocopy is not good enough, man.
So who will get you a bonded printed copy?
Well, the executive should have the master do that to circulate it with us. That's what we agree on.
Well, I believe the photocopy should be sufficient for the time being, because what you want to do is to look at something that will give you a gauge as to what has been said. So I think a photocopy should be enough.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I think the issue is what the Constitution says.
What does it say?
If you read the Constitution, it says what the president should do.
Section 1.
Madam President.
Well, you can't call order on information.
Okay.
Responsibility of the president.
We already agreed to have another message discussion on AOB. We go all together. That's what I wanted to suggest.
You can call it.
Yeah, but this is something that we can clarify and then move forward, because they say the president
Maybe
should.
we should wait.
Exactly.
Maybe we should put it in the
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not a difficult thing. Mr. Secretary, we read Article 58 of the Constitution. We have one reply in this question.
regarding the annual message.
That's what I am.
Don't you want to discuss it?
No, I want to take it off of AOB because it's not necessary. It doesn't say carpet should
We
make.
already agreed.
Just let me read it first and then we'll go back to what you said. 1 minute. I think photocopies are enough, but if you say you want a specialized copy for the lecture, that's my issue.
Brown is laughing at day long. We don't want problem here.
Article 58 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, 1986. It reads, the President shall, on the fourth working Monday in January of each year, present the administration's legislative program for the ensuing session, and shall once a year report to the legislature on the state of the Republic. In presenting the economic condition of the Republic, the report shall cover expenditures as well as income. That's a reading of 58.
Yes, sir.
Senator.
I think when you heard one of the senators talking about that quality of presentation, it does not mean that the president will present something to somebody, then the president will photocopy and carry it around to senators. Exactly. That is not what it meant. It meant that the president will present, and that presentation must be genuine, must be original.
After 1 year,
No. Let's take a small one, and I remember I was the one who said that.
All the files that were.
Listen, Senator, I've heard you, Senator, and you raised this issue, so let's go back to what you have said. Your point was that you wanted a copy of the last year's report. And still is that you want a copy of the last year's report so that you can gauge it against what has happened and what the president will be talking about this year. So it's not the issue being raised by Senator Lisa. Do you want a copy of the report, or you want the secretary to write the president's office and ask him to send the official copy?
That was requested.
My point is, if we can get a copy from him to look at, instead of the unit that we go, so we can delay it and send it back and wait. So just tell me what your issue is.
I think I mentioned respond to you. I'm not requesting a copy for Senator of sign off. I am saying this Senate agreed 12 months ago and mandated the chairman on the executive that the president's address to this country last year will be printed and circulated to each and every legislator.
Let's remind you, the Secretary of the Senate was requested to write to the Minister of State.
Yeah, to make
that
to put on AOB.
Okay, we'll put on AOB and that's what we'll ask the secretary if he has done it letter. Ask executive to vote, and chair of executive. So it'll be on AOB. So then we'll give the chair of executive a chance to say what he already said. If there are no other issues, if there are no other AOB issues, are you not ready to vote on the draft agenda, which includes the draft agenda includes AOB, the 2023 budget of the Senate, the issue of the copy of the State of Union, and then the issue of the draft retirement bill. Are you not ready to vote? All in favor, make it move by saying yes. Again. The agenda is now approved. Mr. Secretary.
Based on some precedents text, the first communication is from the President of Liberia. January 18, 2023. Honorable Faculty Chair, President Pro Tempore, House of Senate in session, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Mr. President Pro Tempore, I am pleased to submit for ratification by the Honorable Legislature and Court financing agreement, Liberia Women Private Project between the Republic of Liberia and International Development Association, quote. This agreement was signed on July 4, 2022 between the International Development Association and the Republic of Liberia. The objectives of the project is to improve social and livelihood services for women and girls in targeted communities, foster positive social norms, and strengthen the government's capacity to advance women and girls empowerment. Under the agreement, the association agrees to extend to the Republic of Liberia a grant and a credit, which are deemed as concessional financing in the following amounts. A, an amount equivalent to 13,300,000 special drawing rights, SDR, 13,300,000 as grant. And B, an amount equivalent to 20 million special drawing rights, SRD, 20 million as credit. I trust that the legislature will ratify this agreement to help strengthen our capacity to advance women and girls empowerment. Sincerely, George M. Weah, Sr.
Distinguished Senators, you heard the letter sent by the President of the Republic on a financing agreement with the IDA. What is your will and pleasure? Senator from Monson Island, Senator CH-2.
Madam President of the Liberian Senate and members, having listened to the communication written by the President of the Republic of Liberia, I move, if I can obtain a second, that said communication be received and sent to the Committee on Ways and Means and Judiciary and report to this body.
Second, are you ready to vote?
Ready?
All in favor, make it known by saying yea.
Yea.
And public say a favor for all the senators.
The committee will.
Next.
Communication from Senator Mount.
The Liberian Senate. Chairman and Committee Judiciary. 16 January 2023. President Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues. The Liberian Senate in session. Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Reference budgetary appropriations and legacy debts of the Liberian government to the counties. I present my compliments and write to remind you of the legacy debts of the Liberian government to the counties of the Republic, which legacy debts consist of annual county development funds over the period of this legislative term, that is from 2018 to 2023, appropriated in an annual budget, a community of social development funds and land rental fees, contributed or paid by concessionaires pursuant to concession agreements ratified by the legislature. By law, the annual county development fund should have been disbursed each year to the respective account of each county, but it is not disputed that the Minister of Finance and Development Planning failed to make all payments budgeted for. Also by law, the community or social development contributions or payments and land records or fees from concessionaires are paid to the consolidated fund at the Central Bank of Liberia, which is managed by the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. But the Minister of Finance and Development Planning did not relate to the accounts of the counties, all of what was paid by the concessionaires. Please recall my previous letter to you by which I advised that by law, the annual community development funds appropriated in the annual budgets, and these community or social development funds and land rental fees paid by concessionaires don't lapse upon the end of each budget year. They are rolled over to the following budget year. I request then that all these payments for each county be audited and amounts agreed to be unpaid be included in the 2023 budget and be fully paid during the first half of 2023, and you agreed. I now request that we instruct the Senate Ways, Means, Finance and Budget Committee to investigate into these arrears and include them into the 2023 annual budget, with the mandate that all these arrears should be paid within the first half of 2023, that is from January to June 2023. I reiterate my submission that these legacy debts of the Liberian government to the counties should not remain unpaid as we end the final year of the 54th term of the legislature. And I therefore implore your confirmation and affirmation of this submission and the issuance of the appropriate mandate to the Senate Ways, Means, Finance and Budget Committee. Kind regards, very truly yours, Councillor H. Wani Motonami Chairman, Senator Brian Cape County, and Chairman, Senate Judiciary Committee. Madam Presiding Officer.
Distinguished Senators, you've heard the reading of the letter from Senator Bonnie G. Sherman of Cape Mount. What is your pleasure? Senator Chief Smith.
Madam President and distinguished senators of the Senate, having listened to the communication from the Great Senator of Cape Mount County, this grave national issue, I move that if I can obtain a second, this communication be received and form part, cogent part of our discussion with the Minister of Finance upon his appearance to meet the Senate in committee of
Any second to the motion? It's been moved and seconded. Are you ready to vote? Ready. All in favor, Mr. Mumba say yea. Yes. Against? Motion carries.
Communication from Senator Sherman of Cape Mount County.
The Liberian Senate, Chairman of the Committee Judiciary, 16 January 2023. President Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues, the Liberian Senate in session. Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Mr. President Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues. Reference, appropriation of community social development funds and land rentals and fees required by concession agreements. I present my compliments and have the honor to submit that, as you are aware, agreements ratified by the legislature for the exploitation of mineral resources or for the utilization of land by investors, especially foreign investors, inherit a generic nomenclature of quote-unquote concession agreement as per the Public Procurement and Concession Act. When the agreement is for the exploitation of mineral resources, the nomenclature is quote-unquote mineral development agreement as per the Minerals and Mining Law. Each of these agreements provides for the concessionaire to pay a certain amount of money annually as land rental or fee for the use of the land granted to the concessionaire, or as community or social development fund for the exploitation of the mineral deposit and the use of all facilities of the county. The appropriation of these amounts of money in this agreement is sometimes referred to as benefit to the quote-unquote affected community or benefit to the affected county. The use of these terms, affected community or the affected county, has caused confusion in the appropriation of these amounts to the extent that litigation has precipitated in some counties in respect of how these amounts should be appropriated. It appears to me that there is a need for the legislative intent for these allocations in concession agreements to be clarified by the legislature instead of leaving it to a single judge of the judiciary or the Supreme Court to determine what the legislative intent is. Now, Article 7 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia provides, in part, that the natural resources of Liberia shall be managed in such manner that will ensure the maximum feasible participation of all Liberian citizens under conditions of equality as to advance the general welfare of the Liberian people and the economic development of Liberia. It appears to me that intentionally or unintentionally, relying on this provision of the Constitution, community or social development funds contributed by ArcelorMittal for the Nimba Iron Ore mines, the railway and the Buchanan Port, or by China Union for the Bong Iron Ore mines, and the railway to the Freeport are appropriated by Nimba County, Bong County, and Grand Bassa County as follows: 20% to the directly affected administrative district of the county, and the balance 80% to all administrative districts of the county, including the directly affected administrative district. In Cape Mon County, in Grand Cape Mon County, a legal dispute has precipitated as to how the community or social development contribution pursuant to a concession agreement should be appropriated. That is, some residents of Cape Mon hold the view that the contribution should be for only the administrative district in which the concessionaire has its mines, while others hold the view that the contribution should be for the entire county, especially as the concessionaire uses other parts of the county, such as roads, for its operations. With the administrative district in which the concessionaire has its mines taking the lion's share, those residents of Cape Mon who hold the view that the entirety of the amount should be for only the administrative district in which the concessionaire has its mines have instituted legal action for a court of law to interpret the legislative intent of this provision of concession agreements. And this legal dispute is engendering social divisiveness among Cape Montinians. It is possible that legal disputes in other counties, such as Bapolo County, which now has the Bao Chico Mineral Development Agreement, could very well precipitate in the not too distant future with the legislative intent of this provision of all concession agreements is not clarified. To avoid these possible legal disputes, I propose that the legislature, commencing with the Liberian Senate, enact a law which explains its intent on how community or social development contributions or land rental or fees from concessionaires pursuant to provisions of concession agreements should be appropriated, whether it should be for only the administrative district, where the concessionaire has its mines or otherwise operates, or whether it should be for the entire county based on reasonably functional proportionality. A draft of such legislation for consideration of the Liberian Senate is hereby attached. Respectfully submitted. Senator, Councillor H. Vani Botonami Chairman of Brown Chipon County and Chairman, Senate Judiciary Committee. The draft bill. And I to provide for the equitable appropriation of community and social development fund contributions and land rental or fees required to be paid by concessionaires pursuant to provisions of concession agreements. Whereas, in order to facilitate the implementation of Article 7 of the Constitution, which provides in part that the natural resources of Liberia shall be managed in such manner as to ensure the maximum feasible participation of all Liberians under conditions of equality, and to advance the general welfare of the Liberian people and the economic development of Liberia. All concession agreements carrying a provision that the concessionaires shall make certain annual contributions for the use of land or the exploitation of mineral resources. And whereas these various concession agreements have interchangeably used the terms affected community, quote unquote, and affected county to be the beneficiary of the community or social development funds or land rental fees provided in concession agreements, and such use of these terms have engendered legal disputes and social divisiveness among the people of such counties. As to the legislative intent on who shall benefit from these community or social development funds or land rentals or fees. And whereas it is necessary to clarify
Presiding colleagues, I call the order relying on our rule on voluminous documents. And I want to thank Senator Sherman for the communication and the draft bill, and move that the communication and the bill be received, copies made and distributed to all senators, and that same be forwarded to the committees on judiciary as lead and the committee on ways, means, finance, and budget. To deliberate and report to this body next Thursday. Excuse me, and also the committee on concession investment.
Any second to the motion?
All right.
Moved and seconded.
All right.
Senator Brown, already?
Presiding, my readiness has to do with the rules. This is the first reading. And so I will amend, if the movement can accept the amendment, that this reading constitutes the first, and that according to our rules, we place the agenda again on Thursday, thereafter be amended to a committee. That's my legacy.
Move to accept.
Are you not ready to vote?
Should be seconded.
All in favor, making by saying
Yeah.
against?
Members of President's Desk, communication from Senator Mategwa of Grand Crew County.
the Liberian Senate, January 24, 2023. Senator Albert Tubechi. President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate in section. Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Mr. President Pro Tempore and members of the Liberian Senate in section. I have the honor to convey my compliments and herewith bring to the attention of the Senate plenary a serious situation occurring in the health sector of our country, which is silently inflicting a huge death toll on the Liberian population that needs to be addressed through the enactment of the appropriate health legislation. Mr. President Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues, the unwholesome practice of clinics, health centers, and hospitals turning emergency patients away at night hours without first receiving and stabilizing them until the following day before referring them on the claim of, quote, there is no bed, unquote, is causing huge deaths of several persons with minor cases that could easily be managed if they were given attention upon arrival at a health institution. As soon as a patient is turned away by more than 2 medical centers that are far apart in distance, the patient will definitely lose hope and eventually die in the process. In view of the above, I'm proposing that this Senate consider adding to the National Health Law of Liberia, presently before the Liberian Senate, the obligation that every clinic, health center, and or referral hospitals to receive all emergency patients brought to its facilities between 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. and exert all medical efforts to stabilize the patient and work with the family of the patient the following day in arranging a referral if there is a need. But no health facility shall reject a patient on the claim of, quote unquote, no bed, unless that facility is already closed. Accordingly, every clinic, health center, and or referral hospital shall have as a requirement certain number of reserved camp beds according to its size for the accommodation of emergency patients to be received, stabilized, and referred to the following day if necessary. If this proposal is included and medical institutions begin to adhere to it, the huge number of unnecessary deaths that is currently being experienced will be substantially reduced. Indeed, while I count on your fullest cooperation in this vein, please accept, Mr. President Pro Tempore and esteemed colleagues, the sentiments of my highest esteem and best wishes. Kind regards, sincerely yours, nominee CH Batukwa, Senator, Grand Crew County, and Chairman, Senate Committee on Concessions and Investment. Madam Presiding Officer.
Distinguished Senators, you heard the reading of the letter from Senator Batukwa. What is your will and pleasure? Senator Sachosa.
Thank you. Madam Presiding and colleagues, let me first of all say thanks to Senator Batukwa for this communication. Having said that, considering that the public health law is with the Committee on Health, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this communication be received and turned over to the Committee on Health, and to advise this body in moving forward. If I can obtain a second.
If you move and second it, are you ready to vote? All in favor, make it by saying yes. Against? Motion carried.
Report from standing committees. Report from the Joint Committee on Concessions and Investment. and judiciary on an act to ratify the investment consent agreement between the Republic of Liberia and Morning Mills Liberia Incorporated.
Defer.
B. Report of the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance, and Budget on a confirmation here of Mr. Samuel G. Bennett Jr., Deputy Commissioner General for Administrative Affairs, Desolate, Liberia Revenue Authority, the LRA.
In the file.
No, that's too bad. That's for you.
So let's do the first button. Why don't you put it on? I'm presenting the part of the first one. Why don't you put it on?
Recommendation from the first one. LRA.
Technical services. Recommendation. In view of the foregoing, and in recognition of the current needs and priorities of the Liberia Revenue Authority to expand and improve lawful revenue generation across the country, the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance, and Budget recommends to the plenary of the Senate the confirmation of the nominee. Bennett. Zoning Committee room and submitted on the 23rd of January 2023. Signed. Members of both committees. Second one, on the confirmation here of Mr. Gabriel Y. Montgomery. Recommendation. In view of the foregoing and in recognition of the current needs and priorities of the Liberia Revenue Authority to expand and improve local revenue generation across the country, the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance, and Budget recommends to the plenary of the Senate the confirmation of the nominee. Signed by members of the committee. Madam Presiding, distinguished senators, the reading of two commission hearing reports.
Distinguished senators, you've heard the reading of the two confirmation reports. What is your pleasure? Senator Sherman.
You are right. Colleagues, having listened to the reports of the committee on Ways, Means, Finance, and the Budget on these two nominees, giving their educational qualification, experience, and the inquiries which were made by the committee. I hereby move that the report be accepted. No, I want to ask for appointment. The report be accepted. And the two nominees be confirmed by the Honorable Adversary.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are you ready to vote?
Ready.
All in favor?
No, madam.
Okay, nobody. Show of hands.
No, on the record.
On the record.
Okay.
On the record.
Not always, man. If we don't have the leverage.
No. On the record.
If we don't have the latitude.
On the record.
The reason it was on the record. That's what years later.
On the record.
On the record.
Madam Presiding Officer, distinguished members of the Senate. Vote was taken on Mr. Samuel Bennett. Senator Abbott Tube Chair, President Pro Tempore. Moscow County. Senator Sir Harry Joseph.
I vote yes.
Moscow County, Senator Abraham Darrah Delon.
Oh, Dr. Samuel Bennett, I vote no.
Mr. Samuel Bennett. Oh, Mr. Get a name on the agenda. It's Mr.
Okay,
And I was the last person I said it out.
I said no.
You didn't hear me?
Yeah.
They forgot to set the record right. He's
Okay,
Mr.
I said no.
Why?
Grand Master County, Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence.
I vote yes.
Senator Jonathan Lamport Kaipe. Sando County, Senator Joachim Milton Tierney.
I vote yes.
Senator Councilor Augustine S. Chie.
Yes.
Maryland County, Senator J. Breville Brown.
I vote yes.
What is J for?
John.
Senator James E. Bani.
I vote yes.
Grand Cape Mount County, Senator Councilor Valen T. Sherman.
Yes.
Senator Simeon Boyman Taylor.
I vote for Apollo too, yes. Keep on, vote yes.
Bong County, Senator Henrik Promo Topa.
I vote yes.
Senator Prince Kemumwe.
Yes. Vote yes.
I know my daughter is here.
Yeah.
How you expect to vote?
Neighbor County, Senator Prince Ward Johnson.
Vote yes.
Senator Jeremiah Pampu.
Vote yes.
Grand Julia County, Senator A. Marsha Dennis. Senator Zoe Emmanuel Penham. Lufa County, Senator Stephen J.H. Zago. Senator Councilor Joseph K. Jala. Bombing County. Senator Maurice G. Situma.
I vote yes.
Senator Edwin Melvin Snow Jr.
Who asked you to talk for the man?
Agili County. Senator Jim W. Tonola.
Yes, I vote yes.
Senator Anthony Emmanuel James Nukwi.
Vote yes.
Is that the Punade man in that fella?
So I did not.
It's an English country, speaking country. You can't that the Punade trying to speak fella here.
Riverside County.
It is English speaking country.
Senator Francis S. Payne.
I'm not a fella speaking man.
Senator Wellington G1 Smith.
Yes.
Ranku County. Senator Dominic T.H. Basua.
I vote yes.
Romaji County. Senator Coleman B. Wissett.
Yes.
Senator Jonathan Borja Sobi.
I vote yes.
Bakul County. Senator Daniel Frumo the 10th Senior.
Yes.
Senator Boto Cannon. Madam President, officer, and distinguished members of the Senate. Result of vote taken. Yes vote 21 and no vote 1. Brings the total to 22.
Oh, Mr. Bennett.
On the record, 21 for 1 against. If I see executive. Commissioner General for Administration.
Vote. Second. Vote on Mr. Gabriel Ward Montgomery, Deputy Commissioner General for Technical Services, designate the Liberia Revenue Authority, LRA. Senator Abbas Tubechi, President Pro Tempore. Motorola County.
Abraham Montgomery, Deputy Commissioner General.
Senator Sir Hadi Joseph.
I vote yes.
Senator Abraham Darrell DeLong.
I vote yes.
Rambasa County, Senator Young Ricardo Lawrence. Senator Jonathan Lockhart Kaipe. Sino County, Senator Juojuru Milton Tiege. Senator Council Agassi STA. Maryland County, Senator J. Graham Brown.
I vote yes.
Senator James E. Barnes,
I vote yes.
Ranking County, Senator Councilor Warren G. Sherman,
Yes.
Yes, one.
Senator Simeon Boymatila, Baum County, Senator Dr. Henrik Flomo Topa,
Oh, yes.
Senator Prince Kemu Mwei,
Yes.
What are you doing?
Nima County, Senator Prince Ward Johnson, Senator Jeremiah Kwankum, Ranchula County, Senator A. Marshall Dennis, Senator Zoe Mohamed Peno, Lofa County, Senator Stephen J. H. Zago, Senator Councilor Joseph Pato Jala,
Yes.
Bami County, Senator Morris G. Senator Councilor Morris G. Situma,
Hey, man, don't be delaying you, man. You can answer anywhere you are.
Senator Edwin Nelson Snow Jr., Agri County, Senator Jim Larry Tomala, Senator Anthony Emmanuel James Tukwe, Riverside County, Senator Francis Salade, Senator Wellington Gibbon Smith,
Yes.
They're bringing the animal with trouble.
Brasco County, Senator Divinity H. Batukwa, River G County, Senator Komani B. Wisset, Senator Jonathan Walter Stoby,
Yes.
Babul County, Senator Daniel Flomo Nathan Sr., Senator Boto Kane, Madam Presiding Officer, and distinguished members of the Senate. Result of votes taken. Yes vote 22, unanimous.
Where my man?
Madam Presiding.
Distinguished senators, you've heard the reading of the report. Any whatever. What is the number?
Unanimous.
With the unanimous vote, Mr. Secretary General, please inform the Chief Executive that this confirmation has been completed.
Briefing from the Committees on Education and Judiciary on the act to create a special education fund to support the sustaining tuition-free scheme for the University of Liberia in all public universities and colleges programs and the free West Africa Senior School Certificate examination class for 9 and 12 graders in Liberia. Education and judiciary. Briefing. Yeah.
There's the committee application ready for the briefing, please. Another one?
I'm the chairman of the Committee on Judiciary, and Consultant Mamponi, the chairman of education, and we wish to inform our colleagues that regrettably we are not yet prepared to give you appropriate briefing. I will take your indulgence. Manuel.
Can you give us a time? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
If you put it on 3 months, I'll be going for research. Let me give 2 months. 2 months. Man, we come with something. It's a very expensive proposal.
Okay, Secretary, the next item.
Briefing from Judiciary and Internal Affairs.
I said what?
Judiciary, Ways and Means and Internal Affairs. Act to provide for the monetary allocations in the national budget for all cities in the Republic of Liberia.
Which one? Was it 2 months?
Yes, the first. We need 2 months.
Right, so report.
He don't want that now.
When? Which one? I sent So what is it? I thought you. Oh yeah, no, I sent the 500. So you can't say that.
Okay, the committee is also not ready for this. Councilor Sherman, can we get a report in another 2 weeks or something?
Which one is that?
On the allocation for the city.
No, I'm not going to brief.
Judiciary.
That's not for ways and means. These are the.
This my territory. This Norman. Now you walk to the chair now.
Thank you.
Say you don't want to be reasonable.
You walk with it. What's it? Let me see what it is.
We are having consultations because the Joint Committee is reviewing this within the context of the Local Government Act. And we want to bring all of our members up to speed on the Local Government Act. There's a section that says, after 7 years, the minister responsible for local government will review all existing cities based on the criteria set in the Local Government Act. And so it is within that context that we are discussing. And so the joint committee is appealing for 2 weeks. We just want to have everybody to know that we have a law, the Local Government Act. So in 2 weeks, we'll come up with recommendations, hopefully, maybe for capital cities. So you want to set everybody on off.
Thank you.
St. Paul River.
get to, I want you to have your financial.
Right. We did our preliminary report. It's on the desk of the pro tem. We're discussing that before it can be distributed. But the Committee on Internal Affairs did a preliminary report that was submitted to the pro tem, and he will also do some discussion.
With the financial impact analysis.
Right, all that.
Okay, then that is all.
My presiding, they put a heart to order until that review. My presiding, intervention.
It's very clean for the job.
Yes, senators who are draw on the floor, the creation of new savings. That is second country in this country that has a country. We got 4 savings. We pass the House bill city here, trying to get 36 cities, we pass our 1 city. So we decided that we're going to go on all of these new creations until, the president decided that we're going to reconcile that. He was going to reconcile that before we pass any district or any city. So, I'm making that request again. What the state implemented for that reconciliation. For that reconciliation.
Yeah, so I will go to your constituencies and tell the people that you don't want to create it.
No, is that for us? We still got Adams bill. We still got Adams bill to be concluded
For the Senate, we passed Allen bill.
So that way we're challenging for that leadership as it is the separation against all the legislation. So we're all
Madam President, yes, sir. I think we should put a hold on it until we clear what the house is doing with No, it's the house.
We agree to that.
It's the house.
We passed the thing and we
It's
the house.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of things that will pass.
Until we end. CH-2.
Then that was it was first question now he playing now it's don't worry, I will give you
On an aggregate establish a fund to finance the provision of free health services delivered here for age, disabled, and current Nigerian citizens.
Madam Presiding and distinguished colleagues, the draft of this bill was presented, I'm not sure about the term, but when former Senator Jowel was President pro tempore. According to our rules, after every term, session of the Senate, matters that are in committee room are brought back to the Secretary and then sent back to committee room. I do not recall this particular matter ever being brought back to the Senate room and before our committee. So I propose that we instruct the Secretary to send this bill back to the relevant committees, that is the Committee on Health and the Committee on Judiciary, for them to take the appropriate action. Okay. That's the briefing. Where is it now? They have been in position.
It's not the law, what happened?
That's the rule. What's the rule? You gotta agree with me so that the Senate.
We agree.
You don't agree, that means that we. But it's a standing rule.
Upon the request of Senator Sherman, the Speaker shall fail to finance the health services. Are you in agreement that if you reconsider and resubmit?
Yeah, that's the rule. So the Secretary, please send it back up.
The Secretary, please send it back. H.
Briefing from the Joint Committee on Transport, Ways and Means, and Judiciary on an act to amend the National Transport Authority Act to establish a ferry transfer service under the NTA.
That's how you see
That's a briefing.
From the
committee?
That's how you still go brother thing. You want to be very
So what is the briefing on the act of this ferry service?
Gary went back. And in some
Briefing from the Committee on Judiciary on an act to amend chapter 14 of the New Penal Law of Liberia under title offense involving details of a person by adding to sub-chapter B under the title control, drug, and substance act of 2014. Judiciary.
Madam President and distinguished colleagues, you recall that we actually voted on the bill. I want to take what happened. I want to ask for principle. So listen to what happened. Now, because the law that was enacted was different from what the House enacted, the order was that there should be a conference committee. We named the members of our conference committee. I don't recall the House ever naming the members of this conference committee.
Never.
I talked to the chairman of the Judiciary Committee from the House, but that time he was very busy with some things. We never got to meeting as a conference committee to reconcile the differences and make a report to our respective houses. That is the situation with now.
Yes. Give like the House of Representatives reminded them.
Yeah. Ask you right now.
The Senate, can we?
Yeah, please. But we need, they were instructed to do so.
But we did it before.
No, they did.
Reminder.
I didn't say that. We did it.
The Secretary, please do a reminder, an urgent reminder letter. All of you, not just this one, the other bills that have been sent, that we haven't gotten any response from. AOB? The Senate budget.
The Senate budget raised us in the Taylor House plan.
So Senator Taylor, can you give us small overview of where we're? The chairman was in here.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. So, I'm simply asking for us to get the Senate budget to inform us what's in the budget for the Senate, and so that we can use that as a basis to inform our decision and action on the national budget. And the reason I'm asking for it is in the spirit of openness and transparency. They saved us last year, technically saved